It is Saturday, August 16th, and President Trump deploying 4,000 U.S. Marines to Latin America, bolstering U.S. Southern Command to prepare for their Operation Eradicate the Drug Cartels. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum not happy. Democrats, for some reason, not happy at all. Why? How can you not support eradicating drug cartels? This is really one of those issues where Democrats would be better off just helping Trump accomplish this. Instead, they're rooting for the drug cartels. That's what it looks like. We'll show you. It's nuts.
The New York Times reports President Trump has secretly ordered the Pentagon to conduct military actions against some Latin American drug cartels. This after the administration branded several as terrorist organizations. Olivia Rinaldi is back with me now at the desk. So good to have you here. I want to play for you sound from Secretary of State Marco Rubio about the necessity of the designation and what it might imply about future military involvement. Let's listen.
We cannot continue to just treat these guys as local street gangs. They have weaponry that looks like what terrorists, in some cases armies have. They control territory in many cases. Those cartels extend from the Maduro regime in Venezuela, which is not a legitimate government. We don't recognize the Maduro regime as legitimate. It is a criminal enterprise, all the way to the various different cartels that operate in Mexico. And in between, you find them in Ecuador, you find them in Guatemala, right. You find TDA, what people would call street gangs, but actually are operating as criminal enterprises.
Mexico's president today, Claudia Sheinbaum, said America's not coming to Mexico.
America's not coming to Mexico. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. President Trump deploying 4,000 more U.S. Marines to Latin American waters in order to fight the drug cartels. This move, part of the Trump administration's strategy to ready the military to target these cartels, specific cartels, with kinetic force. This has been in motion for weeks. This latest deployment, Pentagon officials say, is aimed at addressing threats to U.S. national security from specifically designated narco-terror organizations in the region. The deployment includes the Jim Amphibious Ready Group and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, both reporting to U.S. Southern Command. Additionally, they'll have P-8 recon aircraft, nuclear-powered submarines, multiple destroyers, and a guided missile cruiser at their disposal. The Pentagon officials telling CNN that the buildup is intended as a show of force, but will also allow the U.S. more options should President Trump give the strike order, give the green light to strike these cartel positions, something we know Trump isn't scared to do. If he believes it's the right thing to do, he'll give the order. We saw him do that with Iran, which was a much harder target, a much more risky operation, and he's of the belief it's necessary to flex U.S. military might. He did so yesterday, flying F-22s and the B-2 stealth bomber right over Putin's head. The press asking President Trump about this, Trump saying, which cartels are you talking about? Latin America, they have a lot of drug cartels, lots of drugs flowing through that region. But look, we have to protect our country. Watch.
We're talking about sending military forces to fight against the drug cartels in Latin America. Do you think it's worth sending our forces, our U.S. forces there to take this on?
Cartels where?
Central Latin America.
Well, Latin America's got a lot of cartels. They've got a lot of drugs flowing. So, we want to protect our country. We have to protect our country. We haven't been doing it for 4 years. And we love this country like they love their countries. We have to protect our country. So, we're playing a tough game.
All of this coming after the new executive order Trump signed last week authorizing the Pentagon to use military force on cartel positions that are killing Americans. Multiple outlets now reporting Trump's moving all the pieces into place to get this done. He signed an EO months ago, designating the drug cartels as foreign terror organizations. That original order setting all this in motion. This was all part of the plan. Watch.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year, not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
Then last week's order granting the Pentagon the authority to strike cartel positions. The details of that order are still classified, so we don't know exactly what it says. We don't know if, there's limitations on that or if the Pentagon still needs Trump's final approval. Regardless, Mexico not happy at all about this, trying to reassure Mexico that there will be no U.S. invasion into her country. Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico's president, saying these operations will only happen on U.S. soil. Watch.
Yes, but it has nothing to do with Mexican territory. It has to do with their country. It does not involve our territory.
So it would be within the United States?
Within the United States, exactly.
Yeah, definitely not the case. I don't see any chance Trump launching drone strikes on U.S. soil, and Mexico apparently figuring this out. The U.S. now deadly serious about this. The cartels' time is probably up, and we know this because under mounting pressure from President Trump, Mexico, a few days ago, transferring 26 suspected cartel members to the U.S. These are Mexican nationals, most of them, in Mexican custody that the Mexican government just gave over to the U.S., all wanted on drug trafficking charges, trying to appease the Trump administration. The CIA has even been secretly flying MQ-9 Reaper drones over Mexico for months. They've been tracking these cartel networks for months now, tracking their comings, their goings, their hotspots, their strongholds. They started this like 5 months ago, back in February. It's very likely at this point the CIA has the entire country mapped out. They know exactly where to hit. If Trump were to give the order, they could probably eliminate the entire Jalisco cartel in a single night. Democrats losing their minds over this, trying to portray this as Trump invading a sovereign country, bombing Mexico. Trump's going to bomb Mexico, calling this an illegal invasion of a sovereign country. No, this wouldn't be illegal technically. These cartels are now designated terror organizations, the same way that Al-Qaeda is. Nevertheless, this is what we're going to start to hear, that Trump's invading Mexico. They're going to call for his impeachment over this, probably even his arrest. Mark my words. Let me know what you think about this. Should Trump do this, move forward, give the order, use military force to permanently eliminate these cartels, the command and control structure of these major drug cartels? And remember, this isn't a war on drugs. This is a war on trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, child trafficking. That's what these cartels do. They've worked as the security structure for these NGOs who've organized the tens of millions of illegals who flowed into our country over the last 5 years. Let me know what you think about this. Is it time to end their reign for good? In another story, President Trump speaking last night after his Alaska summit with President Putin, dodging questions about the details of the meeting, about the agreement that they allegedly reached or are getting close to reaching, pivoting instead during this interview to mail-in voting and announcing he will be moving to outlaw mail-in voting before the next election. Watch this.
You have mail-in voting. He said mail-in voting every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections. And he said that to me. It was very interesting because we talked about 2020. He said, you won that election by so much. And that's how he got it. He said, and if you would have won, we wouldn't have had a war. You'd have all these millions of people alive now instead of dead. And he said, and you lost it because of mail-in voting. It was a rigged election. But mail-in voting, Sean, the politicians, I think I'm going to make it a big, I know the answer is that Jimmy Carter, years ago, along with Scoop Jackson and some others, they had a committee, respected people, good committee, Jimmy Carter, good guy. He's a good man. And the conclusion was you can't have mail-in voting. We have mail-in voting. It's so dishonest. They send stuff. Some people get 7 ballots. Look at California with that horrible governor they have. He's one of the worst governors in history. He's incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. They send out like 38 million ballots. Some people get 5, 6, 7. But Vladimir Putin, smart guy, said you can't have an honest election with mail-in voting. And he said there's not a country in the world that uses it now.
Oh, I would love to see election reform.
Well, we have to do it. I don't know why we're not doing it.
No, I'd
and
like
you
to
bring it up. The Democrats
Voter
don't
ID.
want it. Look, the Republicans want it, but not strongly enough. I mean, they got to want it strong because it can't be honest. It goes through a postman. It goes through somebody else. You know, when you go to a really well-run voting booth, you go in. You have to hand a card, a picture, or this or that. You don't have everything perfect. You get sent back. Go get it. It's very hard to do something fraudulent with a vote.
Paper ballots.
With mail-in voting, they give you boxes of stuff. You have no idea where they came from. This mail-in voting, you can't have a great democracy, republic. You can't have it. Well, maybe that's why we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York. I don't know. He probably is very happy with mail-in ballot. But you can't have a great democracy with mail-in voting.
Voter ID, signature verification, chain of custody controls, updated voter rolls, partisan observers watching the voting all day, the vote counting all night. You do paper ballots, you pick a winner, and everyone goes home with confidence in the integrity.
For 10% of the cost.
Yeah.
So if you do paper ballots, it costs you 10% the cost of machines.
This is something, personally, I totally agree should be outlawed. Think about when you move, right? Especially younger people. When I was younger, I used to move a lot. Like every year, I would move apartments. If you don't update your address, the new tenant who moves in after you leave would get your ballot. It just seems crazy that they're mailing out millions of voting ballots like that. Can't be secure. That's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think about this. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.